you're anything like I was back in college, the fall semester always marked the beginning of the new recruiting season, which was one of the most exciting and nerve-wracking times of the college term. But regardless of whether you're currently taking classes or working another job, you've got a lot of stuff going on, and it can definitely feel like searching for your next opportunity is taking up basically all of your free time. So before you get caught up in the hype of a new recruiting season, here's 10 things in 5 minutes or less that will hopefully make the process suck less, save you time, and get you a better job. Before you even start firing off resumes, you need to do some preparation. That means cleaning up your resume, getting it peer reviewed by someone who actually cares and is going to closely read it, and doing interview-specific preparation. If you're like me and you're studying computer science, that means preparing for your data structures and algorithms, practicing writing code by hand, and a lot of other things that I've talked about in previous videos. This sounds simple, but it's easy to get excited about new opportunities opening up without first figuring out what you actually want to do. You should be thinking about what kind of role you want, what industry it's going to be in, how long it is, what locations you're willing to consider, and what kind of technologies you want to be working with ideally. You don't need to have specific answers to all of those questions. In fact, it's better that you don't niche yourself in too early, but at the same time, you should be thinking about those questions and probably some other ones, and starting to get an idea in your head of what you actually want to do. At a minimum, you should be keeping track of where you applied and when, what kind of role it was for, and what stage of the process you're in. This can take any form. In college, I originally started with a spreadsheet before making my own iOS app, but all that really matters is it's something that you'll use and you'll actually keep up to date. Especially when you're applying like crazy, it can be easy to forget which places you've applied to, what roles you were applying for, and whether or not you've already been rejected. Take the extra 15 seconds and write it down. I have a different philosophy on referrals than a lot of people, which I can summarize by saying, use them, but don't abuse them. If you have an existing relationship with someone from the company who can actually vouch for you, there's nothing wrong with politely asking them if they can refer you to that company. On the other hand, if you just blindly look someone up on LinkedIn that works at the company you want to work for and ask them for a referral, that person has no way to actually vouch for you because they don't even know you. Some people do this, and I do understand why, but I am personally against it. But that's just my 2 cents. Especially when you're in college, there's several other avenues other than applying online that you can use to get a job. This can include things like career fairs, going to company lunches if your school has them, or using your college's internal job search tools. It's easy for your resume to get lost in the void when you're applying on huge job sites, and exploring some of these other avenues can significantly increase your chances of actually landing something in college. A freshman who has no prior experience is in a very different situation than a junior who already has 2 internships under their belt. Before deciding that a certain role isn't prestigious enough or isn't going to pay enough, take a serious look at yourself as a candidate and figure out how desirable you really are to employers. Now, if you're confident that you're going to receive several different job offers, then you can probably be a little bit pickier. On the other hand, if you're not sure you're going to be getting any offers, then you should be applying a lot more broadly to pretty much any opening that comes your way, and any offer that you receive, you should be a lot more likely to take, because especially early on, any experience is better than no experience. If you're an intern, odds are you probably won't be negotiating. Now, for the 3 months you're going to be working, I'd argue that it's really not even worth it, but that's a whole different debate in itself. However, if you're looking at full-time roles, even if you have an offer you'd be willing to accept, you can still look around at other companies and try to get offers in order to have a little bit more leverage when it comes to negotiation. Every company is a little bit different when it comes to their flexibility in terms of negotiation, but if you're willing to put in the extra time and effort to interview elsewhere, you might just be able to score a little bit more of a salary, signing bonus, or stock package. Generally speaking, the best time to start preparing and applying to places was yesterday. Especially in tech, a lot of companies open up their roles super early, in some cases almost a full year ahead of time of when people would actually be starting that job. If you're considering waiting until only a couple months ahead of when you're hoping to start in your new role to actually start applying and looking at places, there's a decent chance you're already going to be too late, and a lot of places will have already closed up applications. Especially if you're in college, start looking in the fall semester, and then hopefully you can land something, and then you can just relax in the spring semester until your internship or job actually starts. For pretty much any modern role, you're going to need a resume, and you should focus on perfecting that before you send it anywhere. Cover letters, on the other hand, are generally optional, and from what I've heard from recruiters, they generally don't look too much at them. That being said, I wrote exactly 1 cover letter all throughout college, and it ended up being for the company that I had my sophomore internship with. The reason why I wrote a cover letter for that one specific role was because I heard from a company recruiter herself that she took candidates more seriously who wrote cover letters, and she was more likely to move them forward. With that being said, I'll leave it up to you to figure out whether or not you think think it's worth your time to write cover letters. Before every interview, know what the company does and some basic history behind it, have a couple of questions ready for the interviewer that you can ask them, and drill yourself on the common behavioral questions so that your answers sound refined. In theory, you should already be prepared for the technical sections of this interview if you've been preparing all throughout the process, and as a result, you should only be using this time to really brush up on a couple of your weaker spots. At that point, it's up to you to go in there, stay calm, and do your best in that interview, and hopefully at the end of the day, you'll walk away with an offer in hand. I capped the list at 10 just to keep the video short, but there's a lot of other things I could have brought up here. If you want to see another video like this, let me know down in the comments below, and by hitting that thumbs up button. If you're new here, consider subscribing for new videos coming very soon, and that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.